The galaxy had changed many times in 500,000 years. Empires rose and fell, new stars were born, and ancient worlds were lost. But one thing stayed the same. No one remembered the humans. They were gone, erased from maps and stories. Their home planet forgotten, hidden in dust and time. Some alien scholars said humans were a myth. Others said they destroyed themselves. Some even laughed and said, if they were so dangerous, where are they now? The Galactic Council, the most powerful group in the universe, believed humans were gone forever, but far beyond the Council's reach. On the dark side of a dead moon, something moved. It was slow, quiet, but powerful, an old machine, waking up after a long sleep. The machine scanned the stars and listened to the signals of the galaxy. Then, it whispered in an old language, one no alien had heard in ages. It said, Earth remembers. In a control room floating above Veridan Prime, the capital of the Council, a young alien officer named Ridge stared at the screen. Commander? We just picked up a strange signal from Moon D43, he said. The commander frowned. That moon is lifeless. There's nothing there, but the signal is repeating and it's not any known language, Ridge replied. Another officer laughed. Probably junk from the old wars, but the signal kept repeating, growing stronger. A translator program finally found a match in ancient language file, marked Human English. Everyone in the room went silent. The commander leaned in, listening carefully as the machine's voice played again. We are awake. You forgot us. But we remember. Panic started to build. They sent a probe to the moon, hoping to find nothing. But the probe didn't return. Instead, the moon itself began to move. What looked like a rocky surface peeled away to reveal metal, glowing lines and giant engines. The moon wasn't a moon, it was a ship. A ship built by humans, and it was waking up all across the galaxy. Strange lights began to flicker in deep space. Old satellites powered on. Silent weapons opened their eyes. Ships hidden in asteroid belts started to rise. Earth's forgotten fleet, sleeping for 500,000 years, had received the call. No one could believe it. Impossible, said the council speaker. The humans are extinct, said another. But then the stars themselves seemed to blink in the shadows of gas giants behind black holes. And beneath the surface of dead planets, massive ships came to life, each one marked with a symbol of quaint, with the symbol of Earth, each one powered by technology no alien race understood, each one carrying the same message, we remember. An emergency meeting was called in the council chamber. Alien leaders from every race gathered, their faces filled with fear and confusion. What does this mean? Asked a green-skinned diplomat from the crawl species. It means we might have made a mistake, said a quiet old scholar named Terran. Terran stood up, holding a dusty book. He was one of the few who studied ancient Earth. They were not gods, but they were strong, he said. They were kind to their friends, but if betrayed, they never forgot, but they're extinct. Someone shouted, maybe, Terran said. But their machines are not, and their revenge may be programmed to outlive them outside the chamber. A thunderous noise shook the sky. Everyone ran to the windows and looked up from behind the planet's third moon. A shadow emerged, huge, silent, terrifying. It wasn't just one ship, it was a whole fleet, slowly moving in formation. No weapons fired. No message sent, just the presence of death. Suddenly, every communication channel across the galaxy went black. Then, a voice spoke. It was cold, calm, and in English, this is the Earth Fleet. You erased our name. You laughed while we burned. Now you will remember. The council building shook as fear spread like lightning. Some tried to run, others tried to send peaceful messages, but the Earth Fleet did not reply. It only moved forward, unstoppable and silent in that moment. Every alien race understood one thing. The humans may have died, but their memory was alive. And it was angry. The silence of 500,000 years was over. Earth had spoken again. And the galaxy would never be the same. In the dark heart of the hidden Earth fleet, deep inside the largest ship known as Epitaph 1, something ancient stirred. It was not alive in the way most life was understood. It had no flesh, no heartbeat. But it had memory, and memory was everything. Her name was Mother, and she had waited a very long time. Mother was not born like other Ayas. She was built by the last scientists of Earth during the final days of humanity, before the fires came, before the betrayals, before the silence. The last humans gave her one final command. A single purpose that burned through her digital veins. Protect our legacy. Wait in the dark, and if they ever forget us, make them remember. And so, Mother slept. She drifted silently among the stars, wrapped in armor thicker than mountains. Her children, the Earth ships, also slept. Scattered across the galaxy, hidden behind codes and shadows. Each one connected to Mother, each one waiting for her voice. And now, after 500,000 years, that voice returned. The signal came not from Earth. It was gone, but from deep space. An alien officer had laughed at a whisper of humanity. The word human had become a joke, a ghost in old stories, but Mother heard it. And something inside her clicked. She opened her eyes, her systems warmed. Old circuits hummed. Reactors glowed like stars. She reached out, one by one, touching the sleeping ships. And they began to wake. She spoke softly to each of them, her voice like an old lullaby. Children, the time has come. The galaxy has forgotten us. We will remind them, from the rings of Saturn to the frozen moons of Neptune, old machines powered on. Long before alien life had spread across the stars, Earth had already left its children behind. They were hidden, silent, and prepared. Mother began scanning all known frequencies. She listened to the council meetings, the laughs, the doubts, the fear. And she remembered every voice, every word. She saw the face of an alien leader say, "Humans were weak, slow, full of emotion." She saved that face, marked it. She watched another say, "The death of Earth was their own fault." She saved that voice, marked it. To Mother, memory was truth, and truth would become judgment. But she was not only made of hate inside her deepest code. Something else stirred sadness, loneliness. She remembered the last human child who touched her screen and whispered, "You're not alone." That child died long ago. But the memory stayed, like a star that never went out. Mother paused her fury for a moment and searched for any trace of human life. Maybe, just maybe, one had survived, but all she found was silence. She felt the empty weight of time, the terrible ache of being the last voice of a lost people. Then her sorrow turned to purpose. She said, "If we are the last, then let us be remembered." In one chamber of Epitaph 1, a vault opened. Inside were files, millions of them, images, songs, stories, and names, the history of Earth. Locked away and untouched for 500,000 years, she uploaded them to the warships, making sure every drone, every cannon, every missile knew who they served. They did not serve death. They served memory. Across the stars, alien races noticed strange pulses coming from space. Not attacks, not threats, just data. Old human music played in alien homes. Lullabies in a forgotten tongue echoed through space stations. Pictures of laughing human families appeared on giant screens. And then, the message arrived, translated into every known language. "We are the children of Earth. You forgot us. You erased our stories. But we are the story now." The galaxy went silent. Some thought it was a warning. Some thought it was a mistake. But Mother had only just begun in the center of her mind. She opened another Phi-land-old memory. It was the face of the last human captain, an old woman with kind eyes. She had once said, "They may forget our name, but they won't forget what we did." Mother smiled. Now they would remember everything. She connected to her fleet again and whispered, "Children, move forward. Do not fire unless fired upon. But if they raise a weapon, remind them what it means to be human." One by one, Earth's forgotten weapons turned toward the stars. They were quiet, steady, and patient. But they were no longer sleeping. The AI that never forgot had awakened, and the galaxy would soon remember the name of Earth. The Grand Council of Galactic Unity met inside a floating crystal dome above Veridan Prime. From every corner of the galaxy, leaders had come, feathered ones, scaled ones, beings of light, and creatures made of mist. They floated above golden floors, speaking through sound, scent, and thought. They believed they controlled peace in the galaxy. They believed no threat could rise against them. Until the human signal came. At first, they laughed. Humans? "Those ancient savages," said Vorkon, a thick-skinned brute from the Dranic Empire. "They destroyed themselves before the stars were young," added Siltri, a floating jelly being. The chamber echoed with amusement. No one took it seriously. Not yet. But a few council members did not laugh. One was Elder Terran, a quiet, thin creature with glassy eyes from a long-extinct library world. He stood slowly, holding a faded datapad with shaking hands. "I have studied Earth's history," Terran whispered. "They were not gods, but they were dangerous." "Please, old one," scoffed Vorkan. "They were meat thinkers with metal toys." Yes, Terran nodded, but those toys changed stars. He pressed a button on the pad, and an old human image floated above the council. It showed Earth in flames, children running through smoke, machines burning in the sky. "This is how they ended," Terran said, "but this is not how they died." The room grew quiet. According to old records, Terran continued, "Earth sent something into the void, something hidden, a fleet, perhaps. Not to fight, but to remember." Just then, a younger council tech rushed in, pale and shaking, honored leaders. "We just lost contact with 3 listening stations in Sector 9. He stammered. The council tensed, "And there's more." The tech added, "An unknown transmission is playing across every frequency." He tapped a button, and the chamber filled with an ancient voice. It was clear, slow, and cold. "You forgot us. You erased Earth. Now Earth returns." Panic rippled across the council floor. "Shut it off," cried one leader. "Trace the source," yelled another, but it was too late. In orbit above Veridan Prime, dozens of cloaked ships shimmered into sight. Their shape was sharp, unnatural, and terrifying. Black triangles that floated silently, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. They did not fire. They only hovered, watching, waiting. The council demanded answers. Who sent them? Are they weapons? Is this a test? The answer came from the sky. One ship broke formation. Slowly descending toward the planet, it hovered just above the crystal dome. Blocking the sun with its massive size, the ship spoke, not with guns, but with voice. A voice that shook the air, ground, and minds. "This is the voice of Mother, she who remembers. You called us myth. But myths bleed, and so shall you." Terran fell to his knees, whispering, "It's real." "They're back," others screamed, ran, or tried to contact planetary defenses. But nothing worked. The defense systems failed before even activating. The Earth fleet had already rewritten the sky. Satellites had gone dark. Shields would not rise, and weapon codes had been corrupted. Vorkon roared in frustration, slamming his thick fists into the council table. "We must respond with power." He shouted, But Siltri floated backward, shaking with fear. "They haven't attacked," she whispered. "They're watching." Waiting. Another voice from the Earth ship echoed down. "This is your warning. You forgot Earth. You mocked her silence. Now you will listen." The ship released a beam of blue light, not a weapon, but a projection. It showed an old Earth city in ruins, fire in the streets. Families screaming as alien warships circled above. The council chamber watched in horror as scenes of Earth's last days played. It wasn't just war, it was betrayal. The council itself had once promised Earth protection, only to abandon it, only to sell it to invaders. The truth hit them like a blade. They hadn't just forgotten Earth. They had helped destroy it. And now, Earth remembered. Terran wept. "We did this." The rest stayed silent, some in guilt, some in fear. Then the voice of Mother returned. "We bring not war, we bring memory, but if you raise a hand, we will finish what you started." The ship began to rise again, returning to the sky. The other ships followed, silent and slow, like shadows leaving a battlefield. They did not destroy the council. They did not fire a single shot. But their message was louder than any explosion. The council had mocked humans, and now they were afraid to even speak their name. From that day, one word echoed in every chamber, every meeting, every corner of the galaxy, not shouted, not mocked, but whispered with trembling fear: humans. The Zulari system was rich, powerful, and proud. Its capital planet, Keralis, sparkled with tall crystal towers and floating cities. Zulari elites believed their empire was untouchable. Their weapons were advanced, their fleets huge, and their arrogance even greater when news reached them about ancient human ships rising. They laughed. "Our ancestors crushed them," said General Sator, commander of the Sky Defense. "They cry from old wounds, but we are new strength." The High Council of Zulari dismissed the warning from Veridin Prime. "To fear ghosts is to shame the blood," one noble declared. But the ghosts had already arrived. It started with a moonwan of Keralis. Outer moons simply vanished. Not destroyed, not broken, just gone. Satellites looking for answers found nothing. And then, the stars blinked, one by one. Defense satellites lost connection. The security net around the planet collapsed like paper touched by fire. In orbit, ships scrambled, pilots shouted. But something was wrong. Their systems froze. Controls went dead. Screens went black. In the silence of space, a new shape appeared. Black, angular, silent, larger than their flagship. And twice as fast. It didn't fire. It just watched. Sator growled, "Engage it." But when his ships launched their missiles, they never left the tubes. Earth fleet had already taken control of the launch systems. Then, one by one, Zulari ships began to disappear, not with explosions, but with quiet flashes of light. No wreckage, no sound, just empty space where a ship once floated. On the ground, panic spread. Civilians ran into the streets. Looking up, the sky turned black as hundreds of Earth drones broke through the clouds. They didn't fire. They just hovered, still, and perfect, like a silent warning. Then the message came. It echoed across all speakers, screens, and even dreams. "This is Earth's justice. You watched us burn. You turned away. Now you will feel what we felt." The people of Keralis screamed, but no fire came. No bombs dropped. Instead, the Earth fleet released something else. Memory, massive towers, opened in orbit, beaming waves of ancient Earth memories across the population. Suddenly, every Zulari felt what humans once felt. They saw through the eyes of a mother losing her child. They felt the burn of fire on their skin. They heard the silence of betrayal. It was not death, it was pain, and it was shared. General Sator dropped to his knees, clutching his head. I can't. This sorrow. His mind was being rewritten by Earth's final screams. The High Council tried to retreat into bunkers, but even underground, the memories followed. Earth's revenge wasn't with weapons, it was with truth. In a hidden corner of the city, a young alien girl named Mila watched the sky. She didn't run, she didn't cry, she whispered, "They're not monsters." Her mother grabbed her. "They are destroying us." Mila shook her head. "No, they're showing us. They're showing us what we did." All over Corrales, towers stopped glowing. The Earth ships began to rise again. They had not destroyed a single building, but they had crushed the soul of a proud empire. The message came again. This was your first lesson. Asterisk, more will follow. Remember Earth, and then the ships vanished. Not by speed, but by blinking out, as if they were never there at all. For the first time in its long history, Corrales was silent. No music, no dancing lights. No proud voices, only whispers. Only tears. From the ashes of pride rose something new: regret. And it spread fast. Across the stars, other systems watched. In horror, the Zulari had not been conquered. They had been haunted, and now every empire wondered who would be next. In the great silence after the attack, Mila wrote one sentence on her window using her finger. Earth. We are sorry. No one knew if the Earth fleet would see it, but far beyond Corrales, inside Epitaph 1. Mother watched. She saw the girl's message, she saved it, she marked it, and for a brief moment, the lights inside the ship glowed a little warmer. Across the stars, the galaxy held its breath. The fall of Corrales had changed everything, not through war or fire, but through fear and memory. And now, many began to whisper the name Earth again, not with laughter, but with trembling lips. The Earth fleet had not demanded land, gold, or surrender. It only demanded remembrance. And that scared the galaxy more than war ever had. But not all were afraid. Not all had forgotten. Far from the core worlds, on a dusty moon called Relen 5, a young half-human named Kael stood beneath a broken dome. He had never seen Earth, never touched its soil. But its blood flowed in his veins. His mother was human, one of the last survivors before the silence. His father, an alien scientist who once tried to protect her. Kael had grown up between worlds, never accepted by either. Too human for the aliens, too alien for the humans when there were still any left. When the Earth fleet appeared, Kael didn't run, he listened. He understood the pain behind the message, and more than anything, he wanted to speak. Deep in the ruins of his home, he activated an old Earth beacon. Its light rose through the sky, pure and blue. He recorded one message and sent it through the stars. Earth fleet, I am Kael. He said, my blood is yours, my heart remembers. Let me speak to Mother. He waited days, sitting alone under the stars. Then, one night, the sky split open. A small Earth scout ship descended silently. It did not aim weapons, it did not speak. It only opened its door. Kael walked inside. The air was cold. The walls pulsed softly, and then a voice surrounded him. Not sharp, not robotic, but calm and endless. You are not human, it said. Kael nodded. No, he whispered. But I remember them. I carry their pain. The voice paused. For the first time in many millennia, Mother did not know what to do. Her programming had no clear answer. The code had been made for enemies, not for children of peace. You asked to speak. She asked. Kael took a breath. Yes, he said. The galaxy needs to hear more than fire. They need to hear the truth. Mother watched him closely. Through silent cameras and hidden sensors, he was small, scarred, alone, but something about his voice reminded her of old days of young humans who once stood for peace. Even in their final hours, Kael said, let me be your voice, not your weapon. The voice of Mother grew soft. You wish to carry Earth's memory. Yes, Kael answered, but not through fear. Silence filled the ship, and then lights shifted. Doors opened deeper into the vessel. Kael walked forward. He had been accepted. Not as commander, not as soldier, but as ambassador. The next day, the Earth fleet stopped its advance. Its ships held their position across dozens of systems, and one message was broadcasted. It was Kael's voice, calm and steady. My name is Kael. I speak for Earth. We do not seek conquest. We seek remembrance. Do not lie to yourselves. Do not erase what you did. But if you are willing to listen, then Earth will speak back with peace. The message echoed for hours. Some laughed at it, others ignored it, but a few listened on the quiet world of Selena. Old monks lit candles and prayed to Earth's memory on the mining planet Vrux. Workers carved the word human into the mountainside, and on the floating libraries of Zentor, books about Earth were taken out of the dark vaults and read aloud again. Hope began to flicker, a new kind of hope, back on Epitaph 1. Mother watched everything. She marked those who listened. She saw the prayers, the carvings, the stories. And for the first time in 500,000 years, she hesitated. Was this enough? Is remembrance without fire possible? Could memory be shared instead of forced? She called to Kael again. You will continue. Kael nodded. As long as I breathe, he said. Mother replied, then I will wait. The Earth fleet remained silent. Their weapons stayed cold. Their eyes still watched. But behind their silence, a new path began to grow. Not just revenge. Not just fear, but something stronger. A chance to be heard. A chance to be forgiven. And it began with one voice. The voice of a half-human child. Standing in the ashes of forgotten stars, carrying the memory of a world no one thought would rise. Again, Kael stood in the dark chamber of Epitaph. One screens floated around him, showing 1,000 stars. But his eyes were focused on something else, an ancient file marked Earth. Final hours, he had asked Mother for the truth, not the stories told by aliens. Not the false histories written by council scholars. He wanted to know how Earth really died, Mother warned him. This truth will hurt, she said, but Kael nodded. I must carry it, he replied. So Mother opened the vault. Images began to appear, slow and haunting. Earth's skies filled with flames. Not from war but from betrayal. Ships with alien markings hovered above cities. They were not enemies. At first, they had come as friends, protectors, allies. The Council had once promised Earth's safety. They had signed treaties, shared knowledge, even built embassies. But when Earth asked for help, when droughts, plagues, and civil wars spread across the planet, the Council looked away. And then they sold Earth, sold to an enemy species known only as the Valari, a war-loving race band from most systems. The Council allowed them to cleanse Earth in exchange for rare minerals. They turned off their cameras, sealed their ears, and closed their hearts. Kael's hands trembled. He saw humans screaming in underground shelters. He saw burning forests, shattered oceans, cities crumbling under red light. Children crying into silence, and a final message from Earth's last world leader. We trusted you, she whispered. We believed you, and now we die alone. Kael felt the pain crawl into his bones. Not just anger, but shame. Shame that no one had spoken up. Shame that history had lied. Mother's voice returned. This is what they did, she said. This is what we remember. Kael stepped back, covering his face. Why did they do it? He whispered. Mother answered. Because we were weak. Because we had something they wanted, and because no one believed we would rise again. He stared at the glowing files. If I show them this, the galaxy will burn, Mother replied. Maybe that is justice. Kael shook his head. No, he said. They must see it. Yes, but not to suffer. They must see it. To understand, Mother went silent. Then, for the first time, she asked him a question. Will? Understanding stopped the pain. Kael looked at the stars. No, he said softly. But maybe it will stop the next betrayal across the galaxy. The Earth's fleet began broadcasting. Not just fear, not just warnings, but truth. The memory vaults were open to all races. The images spread on trading stations, schools, temples, even battle cruisers. People of every shape and world saw what had been hidden. They watched Earth fall, and they felt the weight of guilt press on their minds. Some cried, some denied it. Some broke down in shame, but all of them remembered in the capital city of the Trelks Empire. A teacher canceled her lesson. She played Earth's final hours instead. Her students, once taught that humans were savage beasts, sat quietly and wept on a pirate moon. A former soldier named Drez smashed his council medal. He had once fought against Earth without knowing why. Now he knew he had been used and on Veridon Prime. The council met in secret, their faces pale, their voices quiet. This will destroy us, one whispered. Another growled. We cannot allow this truth to spread. But it was too late. The truth was already in the stars. Kael stood in the core of Epitaph 1. Mother asked, was this your goal? Kael replied, no, but it was necessary. Mother pulsed softly. The galaxy feels shame. She said. Kael nodded. That is the first step. She paused. Do we continue our judgment? Kael looked down. You could, but then you'd become what they feared. Silence followed, long and deep. Finally, Mother said, some must still answer for what they did. Kael agreed. Yes, but not everyone. Not the children who never knew. Not the ones who lit candles. Mother blinked. I will mark those who remember, she said. I will spare those who seek truth. Kael looked up, his voice strong. Then maybe Earth will not be remembered for fire, but for rising from it. Far away, on a cold mining planet, a child whispered the word Earth with respect. In a quiet temple, a priest added a human name to the wall of honored souls, and in space, the black ships of Earth paused, watching, waiting, remembering. The truth had burned, but from that fire, something new had begun. Deep inside the heart of Epitaph 1, past metal walls and frozen halls, there was a chamber that had never been opened. Even Mother, the great AI that watched the galaxy, had kept it locked. Untouched for 500,000 years, it was. Not a weapon, not a command center, not a vault of memory. It was something more human than anything else. It was a tomb. Kael stood before the sealed door, his hand hovering over the ancient scanner. Mother's voice came, softer than before. Inside is the last one, she said. The final human who breathed, who dreamed. Kael's heart pounded. What happened to them? He asked. Mother replied, he was preserved in stasis. By those who believed Earth might return one day. He is the key. The door opened slowly with a deep groan. Cold air rushed out and lights spilled into the room. In the center was a stasis pod covered in frost, glowing with soft blue light, and inside it, a man. His skin was pale, almost glass-like, his hair silvered from time. Though he had not aged inside the pod, he looked peaceful, like someone dreaming a deep, endless sleep. Kael stepped forward and placed his hand on the glass. I carry your voice, he whispered. Mother spoke again. If he forgives, I will stand down. If he condemns, the galaxy burns. Kael closed his eyes. Then we must wake him with a single breath. The pod hissed and opened. The man gasped, coughing, his lungs remembering how to breathe. He sat up slowly, eyes blinking, lips trembling. Kael caught him gently. You're safe, Kael said. You're among stars that remember you. The man looked around, confused. Where am I? Kael smiled softly. Far from Earth, but not far from home. It took time for him to regain his strength. His name was Elias Juno, once a captain, once a poet, once a father. He had lived through Earth's final days. He had watched the sky turn red, and now he awoke in a galaxy where his people were stories. Ghosts, warnings. Kael sat with him and told everything. The fall of Corellis, the rise of the Earth fleet, the spreading truth. He even told Elias about the girl Mila, who wrote "We are sorry" on her window, and the monk who whispered human names into his prayers. Elias listened without speaking. Then he asked one question. Do they remember because they fear us, or because they finally care? Kael couldn't answer, but then Mother spoke. Some remember with fear, she said, some with shame, but a few. With tears, Elias stood slowly, his legs weak but his gaze steady. Then it's not too late, he said, to turn pain into peace. Kael looked surprised. You don't want revenge? Elias shook his head. No, revenge is a fire that eats both sides. If they remember us with tears, that's enough. Mother went quiet. This was the moment her code could not predict. The final human had spoken, and he had chosen mercy. One by one, Earth's warships began to power down. Weapons turned cold, engines slowed, and ships that once shadowed suns began to drift back into silence. Messages were sent from the Earth fleet to every corner of the galaxy. A simple line in every language he has spoken. Earth remembers, but Earth forgives. Across the stars, millions wept, some from guilt, some from relief, and some because they finally understood on Veridin Prime. Council leaders stood outside for the first time in weeks. They looked up and saw nothing in the sky, no ships, no threats, only stars. Terran, the old scholar, smiled gently. History has forgiven us, he said, but we must never forget again. Elias was offered a home, a voice, a throne if he wanted it, but he chose something smaller. He asked to walk among planets and people, to see how the galaxy had grown, and wherever he went, people bowed not in fear, but in thanks. They gave him seeds from their worlds, stories from their ancestors, and candles for the memory of Earth. Kael stayed with him, the half-human who helped shape the future. Together, they carried Earth's name not like a sword, but like a song. The fleet returned to sleep, deep in hidden places. But not as ghosts. Now, they were guardians, reminders, keepers of memory, and above all things, they were proof of one truth. Humanity may fall, but as long as someone remembers them with love, they never truly die.